When I say it is time, I am saying it is time to organize to end this madness. To do so in a non-violent fashion. To do so setting out clearly a way for all of us to come together, because without organizing, we become a mob. A mob is easily defeated. But if we organized ourselves across the 774 local governments of Nigeria, and Nigerian victims are to be found everywhere in Nigeria, it's not just in Lagos, we are everywhere in Nigeria. The biggest problem we've had is an inability to synergize and to organize ourselves.
Hello everyone, welcome back. So here is Mr. Dele Farotimi talking about the Free Mazi Nnamdi Kanu now protests that are going to happen tomorrow, and also he talks about other issues. But before I allow you guys to listen to this insightful video from Dele Farotimi, you guys know that tomorrow is Free Mazi Nnamdi Kanu now protest, and there's been a lot that is going on. Honestly, there is this argument between Sowore and the Nigeria police. So according to Sowore, he said there is no valid court order restricting the planned Free Mazi Nnamdi Kanu now protest from Asorok Villa, and the so-called order that the Nigeria police force claim to have gotten has no legal effect because it was never served on the named defendant or organizers. Under Nigeria law, an expert order that is not served within the required time frame expires automatically. In other words, there is nothing to define no bidding restriction, no valid injunction. The people's constitutional right to peaceful assembly and the protest remains intact and unstoppable. Any claim by the Nigeria police that they hold an active order against the protest is false, misleading, and legally void. Free Mazi Nnamdi Kanu now. So, Nigeria government and the Nigeria police, they are trying to stop this protest tomorrow. But according to Sowore, there is no backing down. This protest must go on. And a lot of people have been saying that there are some people behind this protest, that this protest is really not all about Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. We'll be hearing like different stories, honestly. It's kind of confusing. But the truth is that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu needs to regain his freedom. If it's this protest are going to make him to regain his freedom, like we need to support it, but we need to be very, very careful. We know the kind of policemen that we have in Nigeria, right? So let me allow you guys to watch the video and hear everything Mr. Dele Farotimi said here. Please do well to subscribe for more updates, like the video, share it, and leave your thoughts in the comment section. Thank you so much for doing so.
I do have quite a few unfair bits to say, but I will be trying my best to make it as succinct as I can. You will permit me and you will humor me. I will try my best once again not to allow this to run above my normal 30 minutes or less. I will try my best. So, good morning once again. This week, I have picked for myself, not even picked really, it's picked for itself. I have a title, and I titled it, It Is Time. Yeah. It was whilst I was delivering last week's message that it struck me that we had circled this mountain for too long. Way too long, we've circled this mountain. And I believe we're entering a period where we're dealing with what I would like to refer to as analysis paralysis, especially some of us who are given to intellectual cogitations. Let me just put it that way. I tend to spend time mulling a subject, sometimes for years, before I would even speak to those subjects publicly. I might argue with friends to sharpen my thought or to come to a settled position on the subject. So when I was in the middle of preparing my sermon exactly a week ago, and it came to me that what I need to be speaking about this week is the subject, it is time. But what do I mean? What do I mean by it is time? Somebody even asked me during the course of the week, once the subject was communicated, somebody went on there and said, it is time for what? It is time to do what? So what I want to do is, first thing first, I would like to discuss the subject of time, the concept of time within the context of my meaning, so that we would have clarity as to exactly where I'm going with this. Time in the mindset of the Yoruba or in Yoruba cosmology or in our philosophy, which shapes my own worldview, consists of a continuum, the past, the present, and then the future. But within the context of my usage this morning, I'm speaking about the time to do something. You know, there is time and there is season. Yorubas will say, Igba ati asiko. Igba refers to season. Asiko refers to the hour. In saying that it is time, I am actually talking about the hour. Yeah, the hour, a moment in time. That is what I'm speaking to this morning. So that we'll be able to place these in context. I'm going to ramble a bit, so you're going to have to follow and be a little patient with me. I must speak to the protest called for tomorrow because it dovetails into the subject that I want to discuss. Yesterday, Facebook brought a memory that is 5 years old. Exactly 5 years ago, just a couple of days before the massacre that took place at Lekki Toll Gate, I made a post where I was asking the Nigerian army if it was going to find the capacity to kill us meaning the protesters. Even though I never joined the protest, I went there 2 or 3 times, essentially as an observer. But I could sense what the Nigerian state was planning. I knew the Nigerian state had to do something because it could not afford to let SARS end. It could not end SARS. SARS is the instrument of the impunity by which is the instrument by which the state enforces its impunity. So it was impossible for the Nigerian state to let SARS end because ending SARS would mean ending impunity, which the protesters cottoned on to after a point. It started with end SARS, it became end impunity, it became end bad governance, it became end corruption, it became end every bad thing in Nigeria. Those protesting began to make the connection between the system and the SARS that was set up to protect the system. And how does this dovetail into tomorrow's protest? A few people have asked me, what is my position regarding tomorrow's protest as called by Dele and the Revolution Now movement? I am in support of everything the oppressed do to fight the oppressor. I cannot speak against the right of citizens in a democracy to protest against an obvious injustice. And if we're speaking of injustices, the incarceration of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is patently unjust. Within the context of today's realities in Nigeria, with terrorists who have blood on their hands, being mollycoddled by the state, feted, able to address press conferences, it becomes unconscionable to continue to justify the incarceration of a man who has expressed the genuine grievances of a people, however much one might disagree with his methodologies. It does not rise to the level of the brazen criminals that the state has been very happy to embrace. And I'm not just talking about the ones that you see in the forests and in Katsina. What about the ones that they call Agbero, that are routinely protected by policemen who stand aside while these Agberos are busy threatening citizens in a supposed democracy. So I'm saying this so that you begin to understand that the Nigerian state, as it is currently, as it stands today, as it has always been, has an affinity for terrorists. But I've always hated those who say they are fighting for rights. How does this dovetail? I'll come to it. It is the inalienable right of human beings to protest. You can't beat a child and claim that he shouldn't cry. So, insofar as it relates to the right of a man to protest against injustice, I applaud Yele and everybody who will be going out tomorrow, and I urge all of you, keep your head. You're not dealing with a state that has any respect for your rights. Now, if I say it is time and I'm not going to join tomorrow's protest, not because I don't believe that there is a right to protest, but because I don't believe it is the solution. I have never joined any protest. And that is because I don't believe that the Nigerian state is capable of hearing. So if you're calling me to come to a barricade with the intention of ensuring that the Nigerian state cannot move forward until it addresses the issue, if you're saying that we're going to shut down the entire system, go ahead and convince our people that it is in our interest to sit back, not because of one issue, not to end SARS, not to free Nnamdi Kanu, but to change this evil system that has suppressed all of us for a long time. Now, there are multiple issues and they must be separated and clearly explained. Another, you saw Reno and his denunciation by his erstwhile associate. And then the subject of American intervention in Nigeria and all the shenanigans began. Let me quickly, I've told you, it's going to be a long day. We have a lot to unpack, and they have to be unpacked so that we will correctly treat the issues. Is there genocide going on in Nigeria? Yes, there is. I don't need any American to tell me. We've been saying this for years, that the Nigerian state is complicit in the murder of its citizens, and that the Nigerian state is the one sponsoring the insurgency in his own territory for political reasons, for ethnic hegemonist reasons. We've been saying this for years. I do not require Reynolds American to tell me, and I do not require American help to solve our problem. It is up to me and you. America can only amplify our voices. If we're fighting and they join us by proclaiming the truth, that's fine. But let me be clear with you. America brought the APC. It was complicit in its creation. It was complicit in its empowerment, and it cannot turn around and offer itself as the solution to the problem that it has created. Even if it will help us, let us be clear in understanding that we are the ones who have the problem. And that dovetails into one more thing. The military coup that they have been talking about. If the Nigerian military is indeed plotting a coup, I need all of us to understand that it is not in our interest. Whatever coup is being planned is not being planned to make me and you citizens. It will be a function of an internal crisis within the Nigerian power dynamics. It is me and you, all of us, the victims of Nigeria, who need to understand that those benefiting from Nigeria are not divided unless they are squabbling over the sharing. That is the only time you ever hear about them. So if there is any rumbling in the military, be careful not to pick side because it's the same side. We are the ones who end up becoming the victims of whatever they are plotting. It is time, yes, but it is time for a people-led change, a people-driven change, a change defined by me and you, clearly understanding the dynamics of the geopolitics that has brought us to this moment. We can't keep waiting forever. The time is now, but we have to understand very clearly. The way the world is, you are either going to be praised to be fed on, to be preyed on, or you are going to have to be the predator. If you are not going to be a predator and you don't want to be the prey, you better make yourself impervious to their attacks. Because I tell you this, and let me be very clear, you don't want to become the pawn in anybody's game. Americans do not care how many of us die. They don't want an all-out refugee crisis, but they are fine with us having just enough stability to continue extracting our minerals. That is what is happening. They can't vote in multiple parts of northern Nigeria, but they are extracting minerals. Schools can't open, but they are extracting minerals. Chinese, Indians, they are all over Zamfara and most part of the northeast and northwest. And you'll find them in every one of the conflict zones have foreigners there. And you don't seem to understand that all that is happening is that they are redistributing land in order to extract value. I am saying all of this so that you would understand that there is an urgency to the need for us as a collective to begin to organize ourselves. What is it that suddenly awakened the Americans to the genocide in Nigeria? Were they unaware of this genocide when they were refusing Ebele Jonathan the right to buy arms? Guys, it is time to wake up to the reality that if we don't save our country, evil as it is admittedly, if we, the victims of Nigeria, do not find the time quickly to save it, it will collapse. But it will collapse only to the point where they will have enough time and impunity to do as they please, and the world will care nothing for what happens to me and you. They don't care. We are the ones who need to lend ourselves some brain. When I was speaking to my Yoruba brethren, there was a proverb that I shared with them. Wọ́n ní tá a bá ní ẹgbẹ́ alágídí nílé, agídí là ní. If you not get crazy man inside your house, you better be crazy yourself. We have come to the point where we must understand that we are the ones who have to be deliberately insane if we must save ourselves from the catastrophe that is coming and that has been designed for us. Campbell told all of us that Nigeria was going to collapse in 2016. He didn't. They were the ones who brought the trouble in 2015. Jonathan was not meant to let go of power. If he hadn't let go of power, the problem, as the crisis as predicted, would have happened in 2016. But he let go of power. They created the crystallizing event, Buhari's ascent to power. And then now, so let me be very clear. If anything is going to happen to change our status quo as designed, it will be because we recognize that it is time to organize. Now, let me remind you. In the essay that I titled my first book, which was released February, I think it was the 7th of February, 2015, just before Buhari came to power. I titled it, Do Not Die in Their War. And what I was pointing out is what has come to pass today. Do not die in their war. I characterized it as their war. That was the point where the syncretism that has overtaken the political class today has come to take place. That was the point when they started cooperating with one another to become one family. That their war is over. A few losers are there. Those are the ones you see trying to find one. They have become amajiris because they could not find home within their own home anymore. They would have two choices. Either they are going to align with the people to chase their kind, or they are going to stay in the neverland of they are never dead and they are not truly awake. Point I am making is this. The victims are the ones who are going to have to unite. Every time you seek to protest, If they don't send the thugs, they will send the police. When the police can't do, they will send the soldiers. All this is happening because there is a schism between those who enforce the impunity of the system and those who are the victims of the system. I'm saying to us, let us unite, organize, understand that what we need to do is not, we don't need protest. We need clear-headed revolution. Now, let me explain. I'm not saying those who want to protest should not protest. I have never ever spoken against any protest. It is the right of anybody who has been wronged to protest. But I must also point out that I don't believe that our circumstances will be changed by protests. If we are resolved that there is a need for this country to change, we should set out the change we expect to see and then call the people behind that change. I was to have a guest this morning. His name is Kunle Lawal. I'm sure some of you will know him, Electoral College. The purpose of bringing him on the program this morning will be to talk about organizing ourselves nationwide. Kunle is more attuned with political organization, but unfortunately we have some technical issues and he was unable to join the broadcast. But I'll be bringing him tomorrow evening by 8 p.m. When I say it is time, I am saying it is time to organize to end this madness. To do so in a non-violent fashion. To do so setting out clearly a way for all of us to come together, because without organizing, we become a mob. A mob is easily defeated. But if we organized ourselves across the 774 local governments of Nigeria, and Nigerian victims are to be found everywhere in Nigeria, it's not just in Lagos, we are everywhere in Nigeria. The biggest problem we've had is an inability to synergize and to organize ourselves. Kunle Lawal has the capacity, which I don't have, to organize us. There are other persons who I'm working with, but I'm bringing Kunle to talk to you because he will be able to explain. We'll be using WhatsApp platforms. It's that basic, but we need to organize ourselves. So you please join me tomorrow, 8 p.m. We'll put out the link and the notification. But the critical thing that we all need to understand and understand quickly is that it is way past the time when we can continue to analyze, agonize without organizing. We need to organize. It's not about episodic protests where we come out, well, we no agree this one, we no agree that one. There is nothing about Nigeria to agree. But if we do not organize ourselves, we would only continue to lament and lament until we would eventually find that we've aged. See me, gray hair everywhere. These were not disapparent just a couple of years ago. It is time to organize. It's beyond agonizing. Whilst we wait for Kunle or some other persons who will come speak with us about how to organize ourselves into different cells, I am begging all of you, the little you can in your own little corner, begin to organize yourselves. Don't let us wait until things implode before we start running helter-skelter looking for solution. Let me remind us, when NSAS started, it started with only a single request: end SARS. But the system is incapable of ending SARS without coming down itself. I am saying to you that if you go about the business of focusing on episodic protests, this system will become even more entrenched. What we need to do is find the common purposes, and we have enough. There is nothing that hails one today that does not hail all. Everything that hails the Hausa man, hails the Igbo man, he hails the Yoruba man, hails the Ijaw man. The only thing that unites Nigerians are our sufferings. And surely it shouldn't be too difficult for us to find common purpose in the midst of what has happened to all of us. So I'm saying to us, it is time to organize. It is time to organize. It is time to begin to look beyond all the things that have divided us. Because if you do not organize, if we continue agonizing, this system will collapse and we will be the collateral damage. America cares nothing about me and you. Neither do the religious rulers of this country. The politicians care nothing. If we are going to survive the implosion that is almost certain to come, it will be because we found common purpose. In the absence of common purpose, I need us to remember we are lacking in national institutions that can preserve this country by the time the coming implosions come. It is only the victims uniting that can hold this country together to preserve it for our children and for posterity. If not, look around you. I don't care what ethnicity you belong to or what religion. Be sufficiently honest enough to look at Nigeria and look honestly and then tell me that you see a viable future if we continue traveling our current trajectory. This is not about making people scared. It's not about spreading paranoia. It's about carefully analyzing our objective realities. You have a state that has no problem with funding terrorism against its people, Commodore Laumi told us. Melafia told us. Baraje told us. There are enough reasons to be alarmed about where we are and where we appear to be heading. But all these pales into insignificance if we found the grace to organize ourselves. There is a lot to say, a whole lot. But the one that I need you to hold and remember is that it is time to organize. It is time. It is time to organize. In a failure to organize, unite ourselves and be prepared, Nigeria will be child's play compared to Somalia and some other places where human life has been discounted. I cannot go this week without reminding you to lend your support to the fantastic job that Peter Aka is doing. I'm not going to talk about 2027 because I'm not even sure if there will be a 2027. But I must talk to you about supporting Aka so that we are prepared in the event that we manage to stave off the evil day and we do have a voice by that time. But over and above everything, organize and do so beyond the partisan blinkers. I'll see you tomorrow, everybody. For as many of you as are able to join us, we'll put out the notification before the day is out. I'll be with Kunle Lawal tomorrow for 8 p.m. Join us. We'll be speaking specifically to only one subject, organizing ourselves into cells across the country to prepare for what is definitely coming. Ogun àwítẹ́lẹ̀ ò kí ń parọ́, èyí tó bá gbọ́. The war that was foreannounced does not kill the cripple if he listens. I've said my own as best as I can. I hope I'll see you tomorrow. Let's talk then. But more importantly, let's begin to organize. For those of you who are going to go out to protest tomorrow, is your inalienable right, and I support your right to do so. And yes, it's a worthy cause. But as you do so, be mindful of the fact that you are dealing with a country whose security forces care nothing for your lives. And yes, before I go, I must say one more thing. If ever the day comes when the Nigerian state decides that what I have to say about the evil that it is enough reason to curtail my freedom, let nobody beg anybody for my freedom. Don't put off any free Dele Farotimi. I don't want to be free though. If and when that happens, let me enjoy the pleasure of my prison cell. You can demand that they try me. You should demand that they try me, but do not beg anybody for my freedom. Are we clear? God bless you. Beg nobody for my freedom. If and when the day comes that they come for me, demand that they take me to their court. As criminal as those courts are, still a few good men and women there. And even if they aren't, it will be the court that is on trial. And I rather enjoy the idea of that. Let nobody beg for my freedom. God bless you all.
Welcome to Jammercy News TV.